Jahrzehnt muss Europas Digital Decade sein.
The Gaia-X project is the first step towards a European cloud infrastructure respectful of European values and practices based on 4 pillars: openness, interoperability, transparency, and trust.
Industrial data is a new fuel for our economy, and it is vital that European data can be stored and processed in Europe according to European rules and standards. For that to happen, we need a vivid data ecosystem and a competitive European cloud offering.
Und das zu erreichen, muss Europa jetzt führen. Oder es wird lange anderen folgen müssen und die dann für uns die Standards setzen. Deswegen müssen wir schnell handeln und wir müssen entschlossen handeln. Eine echte Datenwirtschaft wäre hingegen ein kraftvoller Motor für Innovationen und für neue Arbeitsplätze. Deshalb werden wir im Rahmen von Next Generation EU eine europäische Cloud aufbauen auf der Grundlage von Gaia-X.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to welcome you all here to Bratislava and to initiate the launch of the Gaia-X Slovakia. The first time that I heard about Gaia-X, I immediately understood that if our economy wants to make a twin transition at the European level, we needed to be a part of this important and significant project. Joining the Gaia-X initiative is a great opportunity for Slovakia, for our companies, large or small, for our universities, research organizations, our public sector too. So, for our citizens and society as a whole. With the participation of the Ministry of Investment, Regional Development and Informatization of the Slovak Republic, we started to mobilize ourselves and based it on our memorandum of cooperation, we can be today in front of you with a lot of ideas, common projects and use cases to boost our transparent cooperation between the public and the private sector. Thanks to this, we are able to really face the challenges of the 21st century as regards new technologies, new business models, and the new rules of our society in each area, sector, and in global trade. This project is important to ensure our European technological autonomy and sovereignty. The pandemic underlines this. So, I would like to say a big thank you to European countries who lead and take a part in Gaia-X. Because of this, we are creating this ecosystem to reach our goals in society and economy. Through transparency, openness, security, trust, and democratic values. In the world of data economy and infrastructure. A big thanks to Gaia-X Hub Germany and the German Ministry of Economy and all of the supporters who helped to establish the Gaia-X Hub Slovakia. These include coordination body of the Gaia-X Hub Slovakia, including the Ministry of Economy, Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs, Ministry of Defense, Plastic Omnium, JETCO, University of Žilina, the Ministry of Investment, Regional Development and Informatization, and our Industry Innovation Cluster. Slovakia no longer stands at the side. It is officially on board. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Francesco Bonfiglio, and I am the CEO of Gaia-X. It is a pleasure and an honor to be here today representing this unprecedented project. What I want to speak about is how Gaia-X has been born, what are the goals and the mission of this project, and give you also a little bit of a sense of what we are doing, what we have done, and what we are going to do to change the future of data economy in Europe. So the Gaia-X project was initiated to enable a secure and open and sovereign use of data. In this way, we would like to self-determine decisions on how and who is going to use our data, being industrial data, being personal data. This is a necessary step ahead to build the trust and enable data circulation like any other good circulation in the European territory. The common aims of Gaia-X are to build a trusted and sovereign digital infrastructure for Europe. So the creation of a digital infrastructure to enable an ecosystem of innovation. Increase the transparency in order to make these digital infrastructures attractive and safe to be adopted by everybody. Provide mechanisms to give data sovereignty, which means access and usage control, and moving from leaving others control our data to getting back control into our hands, into the user's hands. And reduce the dependencies from non-European technologies that are making large investments of Europe going out of our territory and making our economy still minimal with respect to the overall planet economy of data. Gaia-X wants to build an ecosystem of services and data. The final letter of the name of our project represents a transition. The X is a letter of transition, of change. The upper part of the X represents the data ecosystems, the so-called data spaces. Data spaces are the data representation, the numerical representation of existing physical ecosystems in the industrial, energy, mobility, education, agriculture, public sector, private sector spaces. In the lower part of the X, you see the infrastructure ecosystem, which is the plumbery through which this data can flow across the different actors that owns or use the data. In the middle, we are building with Gaia-X the so-called federation services. These four clusters of key services that implement identity and trust, sovereign control of data, the implementation of catalogs through which services can be searched and found, and compliance services that will allow for a safe, secure adoption of services is the purpose of the core purpose of Gaia-X to develop these federation services, which are going to be the glue between the data and the infrastructure. On the data space side, we facilitate the creation of data spaces in several fields. You see here some of them: mobility, health, financial, industrial, agriculture, energy, Green Deal, and skills. This is just the initial set of data spaces we are working on. These will be in continuous evolution, and every regional hub, and the Slovakian hub from today, will build their own data spaces. There are more than 70 use cases already documented by the several hubs working in Gaia-X. Concrete business cases have been produced out of some of these use cases and transformed into real projects. Catena-X is a huge example of the first data space project based on Gaia-X, which is going to digitalize the supply chain in the automotive field, involving the biggest players that have decided to get together and share their data to build a new automotive ecosystem of data. Hubs will focus on regional specific data spaces. Hubs and Data Space Working Group will collaborate in the creation of data spaces, and a specific committee called the Data Space Business Committee will oversight and harmonize the work of hubs and working groups. Here at the organization of the AESBL, Gaia-X is organized as an Association Internationale Sans But Lucratif, a non-profit organization, and is constituted by key organisms. We have a General Assembly. We just had our extraordinary General Assembly on the 7th of June, which elected the brand new Board of Directors. Then we have the Board of Directors. We have 24 directors plus 2 independent directors composing the board. We have the management board, which I have the pleasure and the honor to lead as the CEO. Then we have 3 committees, one dedicated to the definition of common policies and rules that will govern the cloud services of the future, one dedicated to the technical implementation of Gaia-X, and the third dedicated to the business domain of Gaia-X, so the creation of data spaces and business outcomes produced by these data spaces. Then we have the hubs, and we have hubs in all the regions. We have now reached the number of 14 hubs by the end of June, and we, of course, aim to have all the European countries owning their own hub and collaborating with the other regions to build great stories and great data spaces on top of Gaia-X. Then we have the community. The community can work on all the projects that are belonging to Gaia-X, and there is several open projects where the community, also unknown members, can work and produce open source code that will be made available, that will constitute the software framework that will be realizing the principles of sovereignty, transparency, and security that are at the basis of the Gaia-X Foundation. There are several initiatives in Europe now about data spaces, secure infrastructures, Industry 4.0, and data spaces in general. And as you can see here, Gaia-X is going to be the common denominator, the baseline, the necessary component to enable a new generation of artificial intelligence, cloud services, data spaces, edge computing, high performance computing. We are in touch with all the European Commission directions, and we are in touch with all the local governments to enable a smart employment of the huge amount of resources, in particular in the recovery funds, that will be engaged into digital transformation projects. We have to remember that 20% of the 750 billion Europe allocated, so 150 billion have to be dedicated to digital transition projects. This is an unprecedented and incredible opportunity to develop something that needs to be convergent into the same project, the same common set of intent. And this is what Gaia-X is doing. And we are doing it in tight collaboration with the other associations and other entities like the International Data Space Association, like the BDVA, the Big Data Value Association, like the Platform Industry 4.0, Catena-X, which is the first large project, has been constituted as an association as well. So we are teaming up instead of fragmenting down in order to build a strong proposition of data spaces and next generation digital infrastructure all together. That's on the organization. Here is the structure on the left side that I briefly described before. And on the right side, you see the new board that has been elected on June the 7th. And we have now a good representation of the several countries. We have 25 countries in our membership. in origin, we used to have just France and Germany represented because the association was initially built by France and Germany. Now we have a good spread of members all across the countries, and this will rotate, and we will, of course, have new members. And we have several members, people that are working on the more than 20 working groups all across the nations. So a very international project, no more a German, no more a Franco-German, but actually a real European project involving all sorts of players, users and providers of data, large enterprise, small, medium enterprise, startups, academics, in an incredible endeavor. But so let me be very frank. So what is Gaia-X? We have seen the messages from President von der Leyen. We need common data spaces to enable data economy. Do we really all understand what that means? Do we really all understand the value of data economy? Do we really see data as an economy? Well, let's talk about what enables the data economy. Data economy is a pretty simple game. It's made of platforms. So data economy is enabled by the platforms economy. But the platforms are simply points of collection, mesh up, and application of algorithms to data that will build smart services that will implement the digitalization of existing ecosystems. So on the top, you see the ecosystems. On the bottom, you see the data that are coming more and more from things, closed data, open data. And in the middle, this platform are kind of the cooking pot where these data become business value. But the most important thing is that there could not be any platforms without the cloud. And therefore, there could not be any data economy without the cloud. So the cloud is the main ingredient to enable data economy. Per se, cloud does not produce any value. But without the cloud, we wouldn't be here talking about data economy. Nothing like this would ever exist without the transition to the cloud. But again, what are we talking about? Fast facts. Data economy in Europe 2019 was about 10 billion euros. Actually, 30% was not owned by European players. And on top of AWS, as you can imagine, there is Microsoft, there is Google, there is Alibaba, there is a list of players that are non-European. So we are not retaining a significant part of that real economy within Europe. This is bad. The good news is that this economy will grow. So we will reach roughly 1 trillion by 2025. This is an incredible good news because that means this data economy, this digital economy is no more something for IT people. It's real economy. It's real employment. It's real work for our sons in the future. And extremely good news is that the number of devices connected in Europe will be roughly 50 billion by 2025. So an incredible growth of roughly 15% year over year. This incredible amount of data needs to be collected and needs to be capitalized into smart services that provide value to the business, to the society, to the politics, and we need to build that. So it's real economy. Do we really believe that? That's where we stand. In Europe, we are owning just the 4% of the overall market capitalization value of all companies on the globe that build data platforms. That's a fact. And you can notice Spotify and a few others you might know, Zalando. But if you look on the left side, US owns 74% of that capital market and Asia 20%. So we can all improve. And these are data from 2019. So one may say, good, I trust you, but what's new, Gaia-X? Is just another cloud? Well, in a slide and in a nutshell, this is what we're doing. We're transitioning from traditional cloud model, which is concentrated in a few places, so-called hyper-concentrated. It's proprietary. It's based on proprietary technology. None of those technology talk to each other. It's meant to be like that, to create a captive market, a lock-in. And it's opaque. You don't know how those data are managed. So you let someone else control your data. You need to trust them, but you don't really know what's going on. We want to move into a cloud where the model is distributed. It's not concentrated in a few places, in a few countries, maybe under a different jurisdiction, but it's distributed anywhere, everywhere, and definitely across Europe, first of all. It's based on an open technology. It is transparent, so you can look into it and see how your data are treated, and you can exercise your right to decide. So we are moving from users letting other control to users getting back in control of their data. This is what trust and sovereignty means. We are moving from a one-way to a free, sovereign, and freedom of choice. You know that most of the selections nowadays of a cloud provider imply the one-way approach. You know you're moving to a cloud platform, you don't know how and whether you will be able to come back or to move into another cloud platform, because actually the migration, the portability, and the interoperability is not the core business of those platforms. Those platforms' core business is to retain as much as possible of their data and their users and not allow them to move away. So we want to have a cloud where you can, like in this paradigm, have a roundabout where you can choose your way out and come back in and move and leave maybe some data on one side or another side and your algorithm on another side and be totally free and safe in what you do. Actually, this is the key reason why cloud adoption in Europe is so small. We are talking about statistics from Eurostat or anywhere else. The level of penetration in Europe is less than 26% average. And that includes not the infrastructure as a service only, but also the platform as a service and the software as a service. You can imagine that most of the cloud is software as a service, like the tool we are using now. But if you look just at infrastructure, they are well below 20%. That means 80% of our infrastructures, 80% of our data used, known or unknown, and still out of the cloud. That means those data cannot be shared. That means those data cannot be leveraged. That means we cannot build services, value, and economy on top of those data. So if that is true, this is the answer, and I already described this slide and the mission we have. So we want to build something new, completely different from the past. That's why this is a game changer and not simply copying something to do a European cloud. This would never work. It would be just a waste of money and time. We are building something that was not there and it is needed. Let's go about the strategy. There are some business drivers. Definitely, European data sovereignty is our business driver. We need to reduce the dependency on non-European technologies, like I said before, and we need to enable a competitive economy of data in Europe. But there is some critical success factors to achieve those business drivers. The explicit ones are the demand match. We need to create value for the user. So this is not an academic exercise. This is not a subsidized project to build something that will never be used. This is a project to build what the market needs. We need to build tangible outcomes, and this is where the local hubs are working to build data spaces that are meaningful to their countries and sharing the experience of other hubs from other countries and building an ecosystem of solutions that can really produce tangible outcomes into the industry, into the society fabric of those territories. And it has to be inexpensive. We cannot build something that will produce a further barrier to innovation. We need to build something that is easy to be adopted, does not require to re-implement all we have, but reuses what we have in the most easy, fast, and cheap way. There are some implicit critical success factors, not so visible. One, and the most important to me, is the data economy advocacy. We need to tell these stories. Not everybody understands what digital economy is, believe me. So one of the key missions we have is to tell what we are doing, let everybody know, let everyone in the people in this society know what Gaia-X is and what Gaia-X is trying to fight. We are trying to fight an unfair market situation where we need more market leveling. We need a more playing field leveling. So we are doing something for the good and the common good of everybody, not just for a single country, not just for Europe, but for the data economy of the entire world. We want to build a broader competition landscape, and we want regulation by automation so that the technology itself will demonstrate, will be safe and secure without relying on existing authorities or regulation. Regulations are important, but we need to build something that will be trusted as a matter of fact because it is self-compliant and self-regulated. So let me skip on that slide and show a little bit of the 5 years outlook, where we are at now. We are basically at the first year, and by the end of this year, we will see the implementation of the Federation services. We will see the initial data space services. So this is the setup year. The second year will be the year of the adoption. So we will see more and more services being born on top of the Federation services. This will be built not by Gaia-X, but by the member companies or by anyone that will be willing to develop Gaia-X services. The third year, we will see a growth, because if just half of our members start developing or using Gaia-X services, we are almost 300 members today. And you can imagine that in 3 years, we'll be possibly more than double. That will become tangible, and we'll start to build a European marketplace of Gaia-X services. So 24 and 25 will be the year of expansion and scale. We want to scale up to a global market. We want to become, we want to move from that 4% to maybe just the 10% of the overall economy, which would be more than double, but possibly at least more than 30, 40% within Europe. So we need to regain our marketplace of digital economy within Europe at least. And we will build something that will not be limited to Europe, but it will become a worldwide standard as a fact, because what we are building today is not provided by any other cloud provider on planet Earth. So the first part of this 5 years plan, we'll see the ASBL and us all pushing. The second part, if we succeed, and if all we preach is real and true and needed, will be driven by a market pool. You don't have to worry. If what we are doing is the right thing, the market will ask for it. Then I want to close with some key facts. First of all, some milestones. We are now approaching the summer season, and we are working on the new release of the architecture document that will be delivered by the end of June. This new release will be focusing on the operating model of Gaia-X. The next one will be in September and will be focusing on the business model. Then we will see by September initial core services. The core services are the basis on which we build the Federation services. The Federation services themselves are being developed through several projects, one driven by Germany, another one driven by France, and within the working groups, and they will see the light by the end of this year. But in the meanwhile, we will have several seminars, webinars, and point of touch with the community, and many other things are happening that are not represented here, but there's a lot of tenders based on data spaces. So a lot of data spaces are being created in every single country, in every single hub, and will see the light and will contribute to develop and accelerate the development of Gaia-X. We have a lot of hubs established and other undergoing. So today, this Slovakia will become a dark blue, and I'm very happy about that. But as you can see, there is many in the pipeline, and others are not listed because we have not yet defined an inauguration date. So all the ones you see here basically already have an inauguration date and are going to be to become dark blue in a short while. So I'm very happy to have Slovakia in this chart from today on as a dark blue. Thank you all for your effort. Snapshot view. 95% of the organization are European. 27% are non-profit organization or association. 20% roughly large company. 32 plus 22 means 54% small and medium companies, which is the most important part of our economy all across European countries. More than 1,800 contributors working in parallel in more than 20 international teams, 6 working groups, 12 work packages, 270 members that have already become 290 by today, and 25 countries all working on one single mission. This is really incredible. And that's never happened that users and providers of technology work together, sit around the table, and decide together the future of their business. This is happening. We started to be visible on the social, not yet so fancy like other pages, but we start to be there. Be there yourself, follow us, create your stories, we will repost them, and we will create a bigger awareness and bigger community of Gaia-X, also in Slovakia. Many events, 8,000 participants to more than 16 events organized, 75 keynote speech and panel, and more is coming. And we start to have very good coverage in the media, in Europe, in Germany, France, in the UK, in the US, in Italy, and we start to be very, very visible thanks to the tight connection between the ASBL, the local hubs, the local government, and the word of mouth is spread out and everybody is interested to what Gaia-X is doing. Last but not least, we have a new website. We just launched it in June, so more will be there. But it's a new website where you'll find all the information. And of course, you will find the link to get started with your membership. So I'm expecting that Slovakian company will join Gaia-X and our endeavor and will become members of Gaia-X soon. With that said, it's all from my side. Again, my pleasure to be here. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I will stay here for any questions.
Data. We store, send, and generate it everywhere and all the time. Their interconnection can foster countless new ideas in business, science, and society. The Gaia-X project was initiated with the objective of enabling a secure, open, and sovereign use of data. In this way, self-determined decisions can be made on how and where data is stored, processed, and used within the data infrastructure. This new quality of data interconnection is achieved through the following conditions. Portability ensures that data and services from different sources can be easily exchanged within the data infrastructure. Thanks to technical interoperability, services and data can be transmitted seamlessly. High-performance network connections between providers will enable interconnectivity. Data from different sources can be merged within the federated infrastructure. The guiding principles of Gaia-X are based on European values. The implementation of these guiding principles is ensured by a set of policy rules and is built on existing standards. Compliance with these policy rules is ensured by the federated services. Gaia-X creates transparency over the entire data and services portfolio and secures unique identification of the participants. The services enable a trustworthy and sovereign exchange of data. Gaia-X creates new data spaces through the interconnection of data. This lays the foundation for a unique data and service ecosystem. Completely new possibilities for the use and application of data are emerging, from medical technology and industrial manufacturing to specific AI applications. We describe these new solutions advanced smart services. With Gaia-X, we provide business, science, and society with a future-oriented answer while strengthening Europe's competitiveness and growth. Gaia-X is an invitation to Europe and the world to create a digital future that is both open and fair.
Thank you, Francesco. It was a really amazing explication of Gaia-X. So for the participants, so I think that about the questions, we will come back to you soon during our discussion, panel discussion with our guest here in Bratislava, but also our guest online. So hello, Peter. Hello, Emil. I'd like to present in a few seconds that Emil is the president of SCDI. Jan is a director, finance director, strategic of Plastic Omnium. Peter is the coordinator of Gaia-X Germany, and Emil is the dean of faculty in University of Žilina. So, welcome one more time to our panel discussion regarding the establishment of Gaia-X Slovakia. Peter, could you please share some experiences with us from Gaia-X Germany?
Well, certainly. First of all, congratulations on a great event, and I'm absolutely ecstatic to know that Slovakia is on board with us as a community to bring Gaia-X forward. We in Germany, we've been with Gaia-X from the very beginning. It's an idea that was born out of our economic minister's mind. And it's been clear to us from the very beginning that we cannot simply build Gaia-X and hope it will meet the expectations of the digital market. So we've been very upfront about taking into consideration from the very beginning and from the scratch that user requirements, the realities that are there in the market that have to be met will have to be implemented into Gaia-X. So that's what we've been doing for the last, 1.5 years now, is we have looked at what our communities, what our experts, what our, future data spaces need Gaia-X to be able to do in order for it to work as the underlying framework that it is expected to be and that we are developing it to be. So this has been a very great, gratifying, and inspiring discussion and activity, to be honest, because it shows you that we need Gaia-X. We need an activity like Gaia-X that allows us to, first of all, have interoperable and European infrastructures, and that helps us unbundle the platform solutions that we have at the moment. So it's an activity and a project that aims to resolve a lot of the challenges that we in Germany face with regards to digitization, no matter be it cloud adoption, be it data-driven business models, be it advanced smart services, and of course locked-in effects, which ban innovation in a lot of ways. So this is something that I think is crucial for us to really bring forward from a European level, because obviously German industries work different from French and Slovakian ones. So we'll have to make sure that Slovakian companies can make their voices heard, and that is why I'm so incredibly glad that you have such a well-running hub already, if I may say so.
Thank you, Peter. Jan, please. How is the automobile sector interested in Gaia-X?
It's mentioned already by Peter. German automotive car makers are really very active in the Gaia-X. Ministry of Economy of Germany started the project, and all the big ones or main big ones are participating. We have, I would say, good competitiveness within automotive as a Europe, from Europe perspective. We have a lot of data which are in the automotive sector from industry processes perspective, from supply chain perspective. So we can get in advance, we can get better than China, than the US. And the project of Gaia-X and sharing of the data, using of the data, and I would say all the smart services may provide another step in the competitiveness, even for automotive sector. Okay? And not only for automotive, but for all industry in Europe. Obviously, Slovakia, as you know, there are many automotive companies. There are 4 OEMs which are creating great values, and they are a big part of the Slovakian HDP. So if we are able to cooperate, if we are able to use the data infrastructure, then we can be really successful and we can be part of the full European project.
Yes, exactly. And for Slovakia, I think it's really important that we are on board on Gaia-X because about economy and the automobile sector is really crucial.
Yeah, it's very strong, and not only OEMs. If you take tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, smaller companies, medium-sized entities, they are all participating in the big part of the Slovak economy. So obviously, everybody from automotive sector, everybody from industry sector should be interested in to be part of the Gaia-X association, to be part of the European project, and to get the advantage comparable with US, China, and the others.
Exactly, because we live here, so we have to stay to live here. So it is important that our economy is competitive at the global world. It's true. So, Emil, how can our universities contribute some of the obvious talents to Gaia-X, and how you can participate on Gaia-X?
Yes, thank you for the question. Okay, in general, universities have two main core businesses: this education and science. And in these two areas, we would like to get involved in many activities of Gaia-X Hub in general and also in Slovakia. What Gaia-X means for universities, I can say that I can see it is in cooperation. It is for first. It is chance to improve cooperation with other sectors based on data security and data processing. And the second big topic is transfer technologies. I expect RISE transfer technologies or results of science and research from universities into practice, into companies, and in general into real life. Maybe in more details, my opinion of the role university in Gaia-X is that we can provide, for example, deeper skills in artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data analysis and data processing. And not only this, but also to deepen the interest of companies in research activities. Scenario could be, for example, companies provides that data, universities invents methods and models for that data processing, and in common goals is to improve life and also whole society. Universities can provide support for network security and data security, especially in our faculty. And we can also active in various working groups and provide our knowledge and skills to data definition and data processing. Maybe I can say something about what benefits of Gaia-X could be for university. In education, and not only for university, we can prepare next generation of graduates for something that we can name like data-driven society. It is a big goal for my opinion. A second is to get better data for research in various fields, and also we can say it like data-driven science. And also some of next benefits like new contacts with businesses and deepen cooperation with businesses. And also we expect new good projects, real projects, not research for research. This is my opinion.
Yes, thank you very much. You are completely right. Thank you very much, Francesco, we see that you answered the question at the chat, so thank you very much. There are some other questions that we will take. I see Flavio, but I think that now we can give to Emil from Digital Innovation Hub, that also in the cluster is a co-founder, and it is Slovak Centrum of Digital Innovation. Emil.
Thank you very much. So I will talk from the standpoint of the industry. Our SCDI, the acronym is Slovak Centrum of Digital Innovation. We are applying for status of Digital Innovation Hub, and we are very much focused on the needs, on the demands of the companies, and this particular European Digital Innovation Hub was created by industrial associations, by IT industry, machinery industries, automotive, chemistry, pulp and paper, etc. And we focus mostly on the demand side, and the proposal side, the offer side is something where we want to see the biggest possible set of options from which you choose. And if we are talking about digital innovation for industrial companies here in the country, well, the companies have a few options. They can use the tools and the procedures which are developed locally, which is not, in fact, not typical, because we are 5 million country with very strong industry, and this means that most of the companies use other approach. We have a lot of daughters of international companies located here in Slovakia, and we have partners of the international companies from SAP, but also from US and from China as well. And the companies are implementing solutions which are being implemented anywhere in the world or in the Europe. Gaia-X is third way. This is definitely a different approach, where even the companies which are not able to make development of the complex solutions here in the country, and the companies which didn't have a chance to be partner of SAP or any other big vendor, can go and try the solutions which best fit to their customer. So I think this is something which can bring our IT industry as well as their customers to basically a different level. This is what makes me excited about Gaia-X.
It is really true that I think for the Slovak companies, as we are the little countries, and for our companies and SMEs, it could be really a chance to participate in this kind of project as Gaia-X, because exactly we are the little country, but we are also the part of the European economy, and it's important that everybody is on board. So I totally agree.
I can add. We want to be very practical, and in fact we are. We have been already looking in a more or less detailed way to the data spaces or to business scenarios which are available, and we decided to try in two streams. One is smart energy stream. I don't know exactly the name, but we have found 5 different scenarios which we think are very handy for our conditions, and we would like to start discussing and potentially implementing something here in the country. And secondly, we are looking for Industry 4.0, where we have found 11 different scenarios or business cases, and this is something which this is what we see right now at this stage, and we will work on this. And This is one approach, and second approach is that we are intensively thinking about what can be our offer for the business cases, and we have already found one which is once again in the industry and is oriented towards energy sector or energy efficiency. Okay, that's it.
But maybe now, thank you, Emil. But maybe we can, Francesco, please, if you answered on the chat, could you please send us some information that also as online that we know about the discussion is on at the chat, please.
Do you want me to repeat the questions and the answer on the chat? Yes. Okay. I think the question was, it was about what I said is that the federation services will be available by the end of this year, and Martin was asking when will a private company be able to implement application on a Gaia-X cloud services, by when? And my answer was pretty simple, because you need to have a cloud, a Gaia-X cloud first, and then you can install application pretty easily after. It is important to say that we are not, Gaia-X is not a commercial operator. There was some confusion over the last couple of years of what Gaia-X was going to do. Like, are we going to build a new cloud service provider? Are we going to build a new supercomputer or a bunch of data centers? Nothing like that. So we are building let me say, a software framework that will be plugged on top of existing infrastructures, private cloud, public cloud, hybrid, and will create a new layer of federated cloud. So once we have these federation services, which is the kind of connector to build this grid, we will enable the business of federation. Because one very key question that maybe was not asked is, why do we need something like that in Europe? Because we are small and fragmented. So the only way to fight a very monopolistic, oligopolistic economy made of giants is to federate small and medium and even large actors to build something really big, to build something really scalable and more secure, more transparent, so with added values that are not provided nowadays by the main cloud providers. So this will be possible, I believe, by the beginning of next year. But of course, it requires business commitment. So this is not something Gaia-X can deliver, but we are creating the premises. So we are putting business around the table, we are putting countries around the table, we are putting the governments and the business around the table, the public and the private. So we are creating, let me say, the opportunity to build this. We are also creating the software, so we are not just developing paper, to be very honest and frank. We are not just developing standards for the sake of doing it. We are doing something concrete that will produce business cases. But to have a business case, you have to have a business player that wants to do it. I think, to be honest, one of the biggest obstacles will be the mindset. In Europe, we have always worked with separate mindsets. Every country has been trying to do by themselves. We have two small countries, and even the big countries like Germany, and Peter can confirm, cannot do it by themselves. We can only do it together. And that's what we're doing. Gaia-X is a doing together cloud, and Gaia-X federations are doing together business, and we are doing together with politics. So the BNWI, the Minister of Economy and Energy in Germany, the Minister of Digital Transition in Italy, the DG in France, and all the countries we're working on, they are working together. So for the first time, politicians, governments, ministers, private players, public players, academics, they are working on the same intent. So technically speaking, it's not going to take a while. It will take some technical time, yes, but from the beginning of next year, we can deliver the difference.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's really important that during the situation that we can see in a world and world, we really need to cooperate. We could do it alone. It's not possible today. So, Jan?
I will have one question, probably to Peter. As you both mentioned, BMW and big OEMs, and we are country with a large scale of foreign investment, but we are not having, I would say, headquarters of our OEM here in Slovakia. How did you get BMW on board, and how is the evolution? You know, you mentioned Italian OEMs, you mentioned French OEMs, German OEMs. How they are cooperating, and what is their contribution in Germany, in France, in Italy?
Francesca, if you don't mind, I'll begin. It all boils down to a value proposition. What is the value of Gaia-X going to be? Where is it going to be providing benefits? Where it's going to be leveraging potential that at the moment, with the current digital landscape that we're facing, we maybe cannot fulfill. And that is something that is very custom to whoever it is you're speaking to. Of course, OEMs like BMW, like Volkswagen, you name them, they have very specific business needs, and you have to tell them, or they will have to figure it out themselves, how Gaia-X will be able to provide them with a benefit, a real world benefit. And these might be abstract in a sense of independence, but moreover, they might be more realistic in the sense of how can we avoid locked-in effects? How can we streamline our digital operations? How can we come up with new business models generating that are based on data that is currently, well, not used because we have no access to it, because they are stuck in a cloud solution that is not, well, transparent. And at the same time, how can we make business models operational with data that is currently not being allowed in current cloud setups? Because there is the reality of a Cloud Act and the GDPR, which permits certain data sharing models. So the idea of making data available and shareable under conditions that we all agree to as Europeans, I think it's something that can be tailor-made and broken down into business models that work for companies from all sizes. And frankly, you have to really get into touch with what the business model in the digital realm is of these companies, and then work with them to figure it out. And BMW has come to the realization that there's very immediate profit in it, in coming to terms with the sovereignty aspects of Gaia-X by bringing to life Catena-X, which is a very ambitious project that aims to make the supply chain in the automotive industry digital and interoperable.
Maybe Francesco, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think that Peter made a very good, made all the points, and a very good point I wanted just to underline is that small, medium business has got a unique opportunity here, because small, medium enterprises are sitting at the table together with large providers. And this is unique. So in other words, there's equal opportunities within the Gaia-X playground. And this is key, because it's not Slovakia only. You can imagine that Italy, France, Germany as well. Okay, there is different sizes for what they call SME in Germany versus Italy or Slovakia. I'm Italian, so I know that very well. But it's small, medium enterprise. And as I said before, almost 60% of our members are small, medium enterprise startups. Just to give an example, we have startups that have joined because they have decided to give out for free their intellectual property within the Gaia-X framework. Because believe it or not, most of the stuff we are doing with Gaia-X exists. It's simply just too small and spread across small companies that nobody knows, and they are innovative. So they decided that conveying their products into Gaia-X will give them a benefit, because all of a sudden they become Gaia-X certified. They will be able to sit around tables with big players because they provide Gaia-X compliant technologies, and they can make much more business, basically, instead of trying to do it by themselves. And then the last observation is that, let me just tell you one thing, because this is important. The economy of data, we could talk for hours, and this is, don't worry, I'm not going to do that. But there's one important thing to keep in mind when we talk about digital economy, which not many understand. Digital economy produces a value that is not proportional to the cost of production. The value of the digital economy is proportional to the business value perceived by the end users. So that means, in simple terms, if you build a system for managing the parking of a city and you sell it in Bratislava, you will sell for a price that is completely different than Berlin. The platform is the same, the costs are the same, the revenues are extremely different, and that revenue translates into pure margin. So this type of business is extremely profitable. And therefore, there is not a proportion anymore between small players, small producers, because the data are not small, they are good or bad. So you can be a small player and have a very good data, very useful data. And all of a sudden, if you enable or become part of a data sharing economy, your business grows in a way that cannot be compared to the traditional economy. So being part of this game is difficult because all the things we are saying, like I said, should take hours, and you would go home with a headache, but not a clear idea of how to change your business. But the only clear idea you should have is that change is continuous, and unless you don't dedicate, you all, everybody, small and medium and large enterprises, people paid just to think about how to change continuously the business, change will never happen. So we are trying to build this, not just a think tank, it's a thinks tank, I say, because we are building stuff in real terms. But everybody, every member, everyone believing what we're doing should start thinking, should I do the same in my company, in my house, in my small business? Because that's the real change. The real reason why we have not changed is that nobody really invested in changing. Everybody was scared about profit and loss. Profit and loss is just a matter of cost proportion. This is a business where profit is not proportional to cost. I know it's not an easy concept, but it is at the same time. It requires a big mind shift, a big paradigm shift. And the Gaia-X is a place where small, medium, large can think about these things and make big proposals. Catena-X does not include only Bosch, Siemens, Daimler, BMW, and Volkswagen, but a bunch of tens and will be hundreds of small, medium suppliers. Believe me, this is the purpose why the Catena-X is being born. No one of those suppliers would ever imagine they could even talk to those big giants proposing a project like this.
Yes, sure. As how you mentioned, in Europe, it's true that we have a lot of SMEs, a lot of this kind of companies, and the strategy of the Commission and of the Europe is also to underline the profitability of these SMEs also exactly after the pandemic. And I think that this strategy could be very interesting, and I hope, because I'm European, so I hope that we will have a success, because if we see, for example, United States of America, that they choose the strategy to support the biggest company, the large company, and which are already the leaders at the world. I think that it's important for our Europe and European, thanks to European values, to support also this SME. So we have I think I will give a floor to Natalia from Ministry of Defense, if she's here. If no, I will take Flavio questions. Natalia is here. Okay. Yes. So my question to you is, what could the Minister of Defense bring to such a project, and what are your expectations?
So, thank you. And we are very honored to be here and to be part of this project. First of all, the Ministry of Defense of the Slovak Republic sees the importance of the Gaia-X project not only from the business point of view, which we were discussing until now, but also from strategic and security point of view. So I will explain a few key reasons why we would like to be part of the project, and not only part of the project, but really actively be involved in all related activities. So I would just like to clarify that the MOD is ready to fully support the Gaia-X project and actively participate in them, and to provide the necessary scientific and technological capacities and expertise of our Academy of the Armed Forces. And I'm also very glad that Vice Rector of Science, Professor Jurkech, is also present today. So I will move on to the 4 key reasons that we identified regarding the Gaia-X. So first of all, we see the digitization as a challenge. So we know and we see that the digitization of all spheres of life is advancing rapidly. So at the moment, we can experience the development of fierce global competition for technological superiority, characterized by evolving efforts to gain greater strategic advantage and superiority in the cyberspace, data collection, and data processing. And the importance of cybersecurity for the functioning and resilience of the state and society will continue to increase as a direct result of this rapid technological development. There is also when we are talking about data collection, data processing, and not very transparent cloud services, we also see an increased risk of threatening critical infrastructure, including transport, electronic communication, energy, industry, information and communication technologies, as well as water and health and finance areas. The second key reason why we would like to be part of the Gaia-X is our objective to strengthen strategic autonomy in the digital field, especially data research and data services. MOD believes that technological competitiveness is important not only from economic and social point of view, but also from a security point of view, as I already said. And also, it reflects our commitments to the EU in the context of strategic autonomy as such. Third key reason is that we would like to support innovation and knowledge management in the Slovak Republic. We see in the involvement of experts and specialists from Academy of the Armed Forces in the Gaia-X project a huge potential that could potentially strengthen the knowledge management of the not only of our ministry or our Slovak research ecosystem, but also transnational research ecosystem when we are talking about cooperation and collaboration projects. We consider the factor of sharing technological knowledge and solutions between the private sector and the research capacities to be one of the most significant benefits of the Gaia-X project. And the last, fourth key reason is supporting the research system of the Slovak Republic in the context of data collection and data services. As I already mentioned, MOD is fully aware of the changing character of global challenges and the need to adapt to the current security environment. Strengthening scientific capacity at the Academy of Armed Forces, but also at other institutions and companies that would be part of the Gaia-X projects and working groups, is one of the tools to increase security, not only at the national level, but also internationally. Also, I would like to mention, we are fully aware that according to the European Innovation Scoreboard, there is quite a low level of innovation performance in the Slovak Republic, but there is a huge potential of companies and experts that could change the direction and definitely increase the quality of our research and innovation capacities. At this point, I'm going to conclude here. And the last thing I would like to add that we are very happy and honored to be part of these unique ideas and activities. And also, I'm here today and I'm representing Ms. Kolarova that couldn't attend. Unfortunately, she was at the very last moment asked to join our minister at a meeting of special committee, but she will do her best to join later, and she will address any additional questions or comments which will be raised during the debate.
Thank you very much, Natalia. So we will take this welcome, and we are very happy and that you are on board, or too, Ministry of Defense. We have the question from Flavio. What is the relation of Gaia-X and common European data space being set up by the EC European Commission? So maybe Peter or Francesco, if I can ask you to answer, please.
Yeah, certainly. Now, Gaia-X, of course, has been aligned with what the European Commission is doing in terms of data spaces from the very beginning. When the European Commission started publishing the European Strategy on Data in February of last year, it was clear to us that we need to align ourselves with it and with all the other activities that the European Commission is pushing. Even though it has become clear that the central data space that the European Commission has identified in the Strategy on Data, it will rather be broken down into more regional, maybe sector-specific data spaces that only makes the existence of services such as provided by the Gaia-X Association and Gaia-X contributors even more important. Because if you have different data spaces in different countries and maybe in different sectors, these need to be interoperable to make sure that we actually have one domestic European digital market. Now, as for the alignment and relation to all these activities, we are preparing roundtables where we can facilitate this alignment. And this is especially crucial in data-sensitive areas such as health, where we are already established close contacts with the European Health Data Space, which is serendipitously also coordinated by Citra, which is the organization that's also running the Finnish Gaia-X Hub. So we are making use of our networks to make sure that whatever data space activity the European Commission is coming up with is fully synced and in line with what we are doing at Gaia-X.
Thank you, Peter.
Maybe I have question. I have two questions either for Peter or for Francesco. First of all, I think that our partners, our users, our companies will need to have a strict differentiation. What is the difference between Gaia-X and, let's say, Microsoft Azure or Amazon Cloud? Because even I was not oriented until I went to the web pages and try to find out what the purpose and that we are offering platform federation, etc., and not a commercial service. And I'm quite sure you have faced these questions many times already, and I'm also quite sure that you have some communication toolkits which explain the roles of different partners in this game, because most probably you have somewhere some data center providers or cloud services providers located in the countries. You have IT companies, you have data owners, which can be industrial companies or hospitals or even public administration, and seeing the roles of those different players with different commercial interests or public interests would be very, very helpful also for our hub to communicate in a proper way and in a more simplistic way. The simpler the explanation, the better. So this is one thing. Maybe if you have something, we will appreciate it. And secondly, Francesco, you were talking about scalable business which doesn't stand on the cost plus margin equal profit, but business where the mathematics is basically different. And for many companies here, it will be very important to see some showcases, some some good stories about companies which and no matter from which industry they came, they can be both inspiration as well as even example. How did they come from point zero to let's say unicorn level?
Okay, if Peter allows, I'll give it a first try, and then I will leave it to Peter to expand on that. So on the first question, the very first thing I want to say is that we have Microsoft as well as Google and Amazon and Alibaba sitting at our tables contributing to the development of Gaia-X. So why is this happening? Because there is not a conflict, let me say, between Gaia-X and their business. Actually, Gaia-X is building a sort of overlayer where Azure, AWS, GCP, so the cloud infrastructure of this provider could become compatible, could be plugged into, as long as they will adhere and implement the rules, the policies, the rules, and the mechanisms that Gaia-X is developing. So, to be very simple, the difference between what we are doing and what already exists today is the one that I try to depict in my slide here. And maybe I can project it once more. Let me just find it. Just hold on a second. And here it goes. So this is the difference. The traditional cloud, which means one of those you named, Microsoft, Azure, Google, or others, are based on proprietary technology, hyper-concentrated, so they will survive, let me say, their economical model is sustainable thanks to the concentration of data and compute resources. It's like a factory. So you have to saturate the production in a factory, in the shop floor for automotive or any mechanical production. It is the same in the cloud. So you have to work at 100% saturation or close to the 100%. Otherwise, you lose margin and sustainability. That's why the model is called hyperscaler, because the more it grows, the more it leverages existing standardized processes, infrastructures, servers, etc. The more is sustainable. If you start to have a slightly different configuration, this model will not be good. So let me tell you another story. The world of public cloud, which started more than 10 years ago, used to preach that the future would have been all public cloud. Now, that approach revealed to be impossible and a total failure, because what we say today is that the cloud is multiple and hybrid. And multiple means multi-source and hybrid. So a mix of private, public cloud, on-premises infrastructure from many sources so that they can switch one way or another. The reality is that you cannot switch one way or another. The reality is that you cannot mix together easily private and public cloud. And it's even worse when you try to combine on-premises hardware, infrastructure with public or private cloud from many sources. So theoretically, it is what we should do. In practice, we are still hostage of a very few, you can count them on the fingers of one hand, providers. And once you do a choice, it's hard to go back and to come back. So what we are building is a software infrastructure that will be able to connect to the existing infrastructures, the existing public cloud, the existing private cloud, European or non-European, provided those clouds, those infrastructure, implement the services of Gaia-X, and therefore decide to adhere to the rules of Gaia-X. It's like asking a technology to respect the law, like the human beings. It's just that thing. So we are building basically a controlled infrastructure that will sit on top of existing infrastructure. Will Microsoft, Google, or any other infrastructure become Gaia-X compliant? But this is my hope. Will we have a platform like Teams we are using today? Yeah, this is Teams I was looking at. And that will become Gaia-X compliant. I hope so. We will have a WebEx Gaia-X compliant. I hope so. We have Cisco in our membership. But it's not us to decide. We are deciding how we want the next generation of cloud to be. It has to be safe. It has to, and everybody is safe, fine, fair enough, but it has to be controlled in terms of jurisdiction. And nowadays we don't have that type of control. It has to be open and transparent. And today you cannot decide where your data is, who is treating that. It has to be interoperable. And today you don't have interoperability for free. And last but not least, it has to be distributed geographically, because the future is distributed cloud, not because we have decided it, because the future is distributed data. The world is changing, following the growth of data, and data cannot be collected. Like I keep saying, it's trying to sink in water from the ocean and pouring it into a big swimming pool. You can have the biggest swimming pool in the world, but it's not working anymore. You need to have a distributed systems of swimming pools to contain the ocean of data. That's why the model of hyperscaler is dead. Sorry to say this in a blunt way. It's dead. It's just a matter of time. It cannot withstand with the growth of data. And because we cannot stop the growth of data, we need to change the, the architecture of cloud. I don't know if that was clear enough, but that was one question. The second question was about virtuous examples. There is many virtuous examples. Let me give you three, which comes out of my experience, not necessarily Gaia-X, but there is so many. One is Octo Telematics. I think everybody knows they were the first trying to convert the business of IoT into insurance. They realized that building black box to equip cars provided a way to reduce the insurance prices. Now everybody talks about that, but they just invented it. It's a simple example. How can we take out value from data, in this case, from a black box of sensors in a car? They invented this thinking about how they could make money on top of their data. Another example is definitely Tesla. You can think about Tesla as innovative as you want, but you need to keep in mind Tesla is not an automotive company. They are a data platform, as a matter of fact. So they can do whatever they want with Tesla. And you will see now that they sell cars, but as well power plants, and as well, besides the rockets to Mars and all these fancy things that Elon Musk is doing. Basically, they are a data company. Another simple example happened to me many years ago was with Syngenta. Syngenta is the largest producer of pesticides and products and seeds for the agriculture. And at that time I was CTO for HP, so they invited me because they wanted to share their strategy, and their strategy was to reach out to every single farmer in India to help them using less water, the best recipes for fertilizers and pesticides in order to improve the quality of their crops, reducing the usage of natural resources. And what I told them is, yes, but if you do that, you're going to jeopardize your business. And they said, well, if we don't do it, somebody will do it. And if we do it leveraging our data, because they were using their research and development data to provide these recipes, these customized recipes online to the farmers. And if we're not leveraging these data, they will be lost, because basically they will remain our intellectual property, but we won't be able to exploit them at best. If we make them available to provide customized recipes, we will create a fidelization and a value of the product that is higher of the price. And in fact, they have the highest price in the market. but everybody buys them. Many, many, many different examples like that. I'm not going to talk about Amazon shopping, but I have to admit, I'm coming out. I use Amazon. Yes, I use Amazon for anything I need to buy. Why? They provide me value. I have to say it. If I had a European shopping platform like Amazon, I would buy European. Believe me, but they have to provide me value. And I would be also willing to spend even some more pennies or some more euros. Yes, I will. If I know that product is European, is produced in Slovakia or in Italy, and I'm sure that, it comes through a supply chain of European player, yes, I will. I will do, but we don't have it. Let's be honest. So there's a lot of way to make money off data, but you need ideas like what I was saying and platforms, and that's what we're doing.
Thank you, Francesco. Thank you that thank you. It is a really amazing discussion. So we are a little bit in a time stress, and I think it's really important to give the floor to our representative to Ministry of Investment of Slovak Republic, who is our part responsible from public sector. So before ending our panel discussion. And thank you. Only I will ask really one phrase from every participant. But the last question, please, Peter, really very shortly about your competition call. It was in Germany that finished in the 7th of May about the financing. How you want to, please, very shortly. Money on the day.
We did finish the call for tenders for the Gaia-X competition. It's got a budget of 200 million euros, and we are looking at roughly 20 projects to come out of it that will show directly the benefit and profit that Gaia-X will bring to these different markets. And we're looking forward to to be publishing them on Friday. So stay tuned.
Thank you very much. So I will not say that the last messages, but I will say only messages. So please, Jan.
Yeah, thank you that we can be part of the interesting story. And it's really not only for Slovakia, but for whole Europe. And I'm looking forward to see the result in a couple of months, years.
Francesco? We have Francesco?
Yeah, I thought I spoke too much. So I have nothing to add, and honestly, I just wanted to say that we are here. We have a face. It's not just an association. So maybe it's simple, but feel free to reach out to us. We will be here listening, and we need to learn. It's an iterative process. Don't give it as don't expect it's a given. Don't expect we have all the answers, but we will share all the doubts and all our ideas.
Emil?
Well, let's keep it demand driven. Let's stay with both feet on the ground. It will be sometimes annoying from our side, but on the other hand, we are representing companies which have demand, which need something, and we want to find the best solutions for that.
Emil from Žilina, from universities. We have a bit.
Yes. Thank you. So, last words. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
You have a ministry of not last.
not last. We are at the beginning, yes, of course. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Okay.
Natalia? We have Natalia?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, great.
Yeah, wonderful. I just would like to say that we are very excited to be the part of the Gaia-X and looking forward to any collaborative initiatives and projects and anything what would add a value both to Gaia-X and to Slovakia as well. Thank you.
So thank you very much for all the panelists. I will not prolong the time. Now it is I give a floor to Minister of Investment, Regional Development and Informatization of Slovak Republic. Really important message also for us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I give you a floor.
Thank you very much.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, let me excuse for the absence of State Secretary Mr. Antal, but he was suddenly invited to attend a meeting in another ministry, and this meeting was very important. That's why he was not able to attend our meeting now. After hearing the inspiring ideas of the development of the Gaia-X project as the next generation of data infrastructure, let me conclude by presenting some motivation ideas, suggestions for the future of the Gaia-X Slovakia project in Slovakia and in Slovakia environment. So what is waiting for us in the near future? We should set up effective number of working groups and support their work. Now we have two groups, Energy and Industry 4, which we will further develop already established, working, and we will support them to work better and to bring the solutions and the use cases which we are waiting for. After this, we will establish and prepare for the other working groups for work, agriculture, finance, geoinformation, health, mobility, public sector, and smart living. And there we need to seek, and we will do it, innovative use cases that will be able to take place not only in Slovakia, but in the region of Europa. We will look for ways how to develop from these use cases the real projects which will bring benefit for people in Slovakia, but also in Europa. We will look to projects which will create larger sets of data sets that can be processed using artificial intelligence, algorithms, and based on the results to bring chance for people to have a better life, for companies to have better business, and for education to find new ways where the education should go. The European platform of Gaia-X project brings us new possibilities and shows the ways for the new innovative solutions. Our aim is to not only to inspire and to learn, but also to bring our know-how to this project. The idea of European cloud and transparent data sharing in life with European legislation and opportunity to combine capacities and resources of European level bring us new future. And I believe that Slovakia will demonstrate the potential to jointly develop the Gaia-X project and to participate in the creation of the next generation of European infrastructure, and by intensively working on the next steps of cooperation. I hope that Slovakia will be a good partner for European Union. That's all. Let's work.
So thank you very much to everybody, dear participant. It was really great. Thank you, Francesco, because when you speak, so it's really amazing. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, all panelists. And how our minister said, let's work, and it must be a success, and it will be a success. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Thank you.